Hello, Helen Daly with you again. Tonight, as the Asian tidal wave's toll of death and destruction continues to mount, more extraordinary stories of courage and compassion. And one Aussie mother has revealed the almost impossible choice she was forced to make. Trapped in the deadly surge of the tsunami, Jillian tried to hold on to her 20-month-old baby and her 5-year-old son, Lockie, who can't swim. Then she realised she wasn't going to be able to save them both.
My baby and I were getting swept through, and I remember looking back at my 5-year-old boy thinking that will probably be the last time that I would see him alive, because I knew that he couldn't swim.
See, the lady was holding on to me, another lady that was in Phuket, and she had to let go of me, and I went underwater and I had my mouth open.
Lockie Searle is a remarkable 5-year-old. His family believe only a miracle helped him survive the tidal wave that tore through their Phuket hotel on Boxing Day.
I just heard a terrible roaring, loud roaring sound, and I turned around and I just saw masses of water just coming for us, and I straight away thought, how am I going to keep my 2 children alive?
After the first wave hit, Jillian saw a young girl clinging to a post, and knowing she couldn't hold both her children, pleaded with her to take her eldest son.
I had both my children, and I took my 5-year-old son's hand off mine, and I put his hand onto her, and I said, take my son. I didn't want to do it. It was hard letting go of making him take his hand off mine. I could feel him squeezing me. He said to me, don't let go of me, Mummy, you know, but I knew I had to.
While Jillian was fighting for her life, her husband was desperately trying to get down from their hotel room to help his family.
The water level was too high and he couldn't open the doors. And then I found a bar on the ground, and I tried to sort of get that into the door and leave the door open. And the second one came, and I just held on to there was a bar there, and I jumped up onto the top of that.
And I was just screaming, and I just wanted my husband, and it felt like an eternity before I saw him, and then I saw him, and I said to him, I've lost Lockie.
After the second tidal wave passed, Bradley found his wife and baby son, but there was no sign of Lockie, and Jillian was beside herself with fear.
I just said to him, I said, you don't understand, you have to find him, because I let go of him. I gave him to somebody else, and I let go of him, and I can't live with that. There's no possible way that I can live my life knowing that I took his hand off mine.
I was trying to search for him, and I yelling out, but all the car horns were stuck on, and cars had just been slammed into walls.
That's like a crocodile.
For 2 hours while his parents searched the grim water, fearing the worst, brave little Lockie was alone in the dark, clinging on to a door frame.
I think when I was up the water, I see the door, so I was holding on to the door because I was putting my finger through the other closed door.
Then we could hear people saying, Lockie, Lockie, it's Lockie, it's Lockie. All the people that had been looking said it's... And the policeman carried Lockie to me, and he was perfect.
4, 5...
Despite some injuries, the Searle family know they are the lucky ones.
It's very sore and swollen, and I bruised myself here.
It can only go 2 ways. It can either be a really happy ending, or it can be a really bad ending, and luckily it was a happy ending.
After their brush with death, this family are quite happy staying at home for a while. And it's Christmas all over again for brave little Lockie.
We're taking him to the toy shop today, and we've told him he can have whatever toy he wants.
Marianne Ellis there in Perth with an amazing story. The Searles asked us to make a donation to the Red Cross Tsunami Appeal, and we've done just that on their behalf. With around 1,000 Australians still unaccounted for, the Prime Minister has warned again that we should all brace ourselves for a substantial rise in the toll of Australian casualties. For days now, relatives of those who are missing have been left in an emotional limbo, just not knowing.
I'm not a religious person, but we need some prayers right at the moment.
All over the world, this scene is repeated. Everywhere, families are trying to find loved ones. On the streets, in hospitals and makeshift morgues, the search continues. And everywhere, they're trying to hold on to hope.
Yeah, I think that's it, yeah. We're not thinking any bad thoughts, so... Yeah.
Chris Fryer is safe and okay, but Dinah, his wife of 18 years, is still missing. This is one of the last photographs taken of the family together, leaving Brisbane Airport last week to holiday in Phuket. Chris's daughters, Louise and Michelle, are also remaining positive about Mum being found.
There's just a huge number of possibilities, and it's early days yet. It's going to take a while to actually have everyone accounted for. So I think we've still got reason to be optimistic at this point.
It was the family's first overseas trip, a time to celebrate Chris's 50th birthday. They were staying just metres away from the water's edge.
I can remember just walking down to the beach, as I did, just have a bit of a look, and watching the water sort of just... wasn't really that bad then, and then realised that there was literally something bad happening, because it just came that quick.
Coming again! Big one. Back up!
When I turned back, I just saw Michelle and grabbed her by the hand and ran. I sort of assumed that Mum and Dad would be together and they would go somewhere.
But Dinah wasn't with Chris. Since Sunday, he and his daughters have been doing all they can from their hospital beds. Dinah's sister Jane has flown in to help in the search.
I go to the hospitals, I go to look at any photos, any lists. I can't get the smell out of my nose. It's the only... I have to do it. Then I know she's not down there. I can forget that place.
At one stage, Jane feared the worst.
And I found a photograph and I was sure it was Dinah. This lady had the same blouse on that my sister was wearing that day. But it was the clothes, the blouse that made me so sure, but it wasn't her. I was so pleased.
And like I said, now we've got Jane Hill out there looking. We know that where before I still so helpless lying in the hospital doing nothing, where now the girls are with me, and we know we've got Jane out there sort of, tromping around looking for us, so we're sort of still very, very confident now.
In a perfect world, what do you want to see happen tomorrow?
That our auntie comes in with good news and she says we found your mother and she's fine.
We're going to find Dinah. We won't leave this country until we do, one way or another.
David Eccleston with the Fryer family. You'd think anyone who survived this disaster would just want to get back to the safety of home. But a young Aussie couple are bravely going back into one of the worst hit areas to save others.
We spent all of yesterday going to a pharmacy to buy medicine. Red Cross is out of cash, so we bought it yourself? Yeah, about a couple of grand's worth of medicine.